there are two things that stood out extremely clearly. Um, and I've said this often to you, Alex, already. What was remarkable for me was that as we went through the diligence process, I don't think I've come across a firm that had done as much diligence and brought as much expertise to bear in the conversations as we were going through the technology, competitors, market, etc. There was a depth that we saw in those conversations that I was very surprised at. The second comment I would make is I've worked with a lot of investors and I've realized over time that the relationship in the boardroom, the relationship with the investor, the ease with which you can have a conversation, share concerns, have a free dialogue is extremely important. And I say this sort of in great sincerity. It was very easy for me to have conversations with Alex. And as much as you can glean from a intense 2-month process, I felt better on that front than with any prior investor in that shorter period of time. So those were the two things that stood out to me.
As Suresh mentioned, Sysdig's had a very unique nexus of open source cloud security, and frankly, looking in the next 5 years, Suresh and team are frankly building the product that will solve the problems of all enterprise companies, frankly, as they move to the cloud. So what I think was most exciting is Sysdig is directly benefiting from more and more software being hosted and developed in the cloud. And as that happens, the complexity increases, and the building block of the cloud, as you heard Suresh mention, is the container. And what Sysdig's platform does for companies like Goldman Sachs, IBM, SAP, Pixar, Ford, is it monitors and secures these building blocks. And this is what I think is very special and very unique about Sysdig.
Yeah. So what's next for us? What are the priorities we are focused on? I'll articulate three things that sort of I think about all the time. The very first one is how do we rapidly grow our customer base? Today, we have about 125 large global enterprises and a total customer base of 700 customers. As I look at the next 3 years, we want to grow that large global enterprise customer base at least to 500 of the Fortune 2000, of the Global 2000 over the next 3 years. And we want to grow our total customer base to multiple thousands from the 700 today. That's the first priority for us, is rapidly expand the base of customers we address. The second priority, we are built on an open source foundation and it's a vibrant, thriving community today. So how do we continue to build on that Falco open source foundation, make the community much more vibrant, have much wider adoption of our open source projects? And in parallel with the open source adoption, how do we strengthen the differentiation of our technology platform that's allowing us to acquire these customers, that sort of make that the default for when customers think about how do I protect my cloud application. The third thing I would say is ultimately, sort of as we look back many years from now and think about what are we most proud of, I tend to believe that you don't remember so much the business milestones or the market share milestones or the revenue milestones. Often what you look back and say you're proud of is what kind of organization do you build. And so for us, the third thing that we're focused on is how do we make Sysdig a great place to work and a magnet for the best talent in the cloud native ecosystem, something that people can look back on many years from now and say, I was proud to have worked at Sysdig at a time when we were shaping how this industry is evolving.
I think what is next for Sysdig is exciting is going abroad and really taking the technology that I've spent the last 7 or 8 years developing, moving it to markets, whether it's EMEA or APAC, and really building that go-to-market muscle as they expand. I think that's where, frankly, we can be helpful